Hey friends, welcome to Soja Videos. My name is Joan and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make your very own pipe cleaner flower bouquet. This is probably the most proudest thing I've made in quite a long time. As you know, it is Valentine's Day coming up right around the corner, and what better way to hand make a gift that are not only flowers that won't ever die but also look so amazing and so cute. Now, I've made pipe cleaner flowers before on my channel, but I want to challenge myself by making a fully put together bouquet, which we have right here. So I'll be showing you guys how I made each of the different flowers and pieces that are here, so you too can make your very own pipe cleaner flower bouquet. Timestamps and materials will be linked in the description below, and with that, I think we're ready to get started. So the first thing I actually did was do a bit of research on what I wanted my bouquet to look like, and with these as my inspo photos, I made my own kind of draft of my final bouquet. And I want to emphasize the importance of this step because I feel like planning out what your bouquet is going to look like helps you pick out the colors and just make sure it's cohesive and aesthetic looking in the end. After looking at the inspo photos, I thought about what types of flowers I wanted in my bouquet. I also thought about the number of flowers I wanted to make, and I also thought about the color of the flowers I wanted and the aesthetic I was going for. And so the next step was gathering the colors of the pipe cleaners. And I think a key factor of making a really nice looking bouquet is getting good pipe cleaner colors. But unfortunately, most packages just have normal pipe cleaner colors, so I went to my local craft store to get some nicer aesthetic looking colors. So for materials you'll need, of course, pipe cleaners, a pair of scissors, some floral wire stems, a hot glue gun, and some green tape. Now it's time to make the actual flowers. Again, timestamps below if you're looking for a specific flower, but I'm going to be making the tulips and lilies first since they both use the same petal method. We're going to need to cut up some half-length pipe cleaners, as we'll need 3 of those along with a normal-sized pipe cleaner. So taking my 3 half pieces, I'm going to line up with the middle of a normal length one, fold it over, and twist it a few times. Twisting is going to be the key here to securing all of our pipe cleaner pieces. After twisting 2 or 3 times, I'm going to take the ends of the halves and just fold them towards each other like I'm doing so here. And you want to make sure that when you're folding them, you're not folding them so that they're overlapped, but instead just side by side each other. And then we'll finally fold the outside longer pieces to form the border of our petals. I'm then going to pinch the base, making sure I have all the pipe cleaner ends before twisting and securing the petal. With one of the longer ends, I'm just going to choose one and snake it around the other so that we have just one piece kind of hanging out. And then you can shape the petal to your liking. I personally like a soft curve and cupped shape. And once you're happy with it, that's your first petal done. Since we're making a bouquet, I'm making flowers of several colors, so here I am just repeating these steps of stacking together my pieces, folding over the border, twisting it to make the base, shaping it to make another petal. Just a few tips to make your life a bit easier when you're making these. I would definitely make sure to properly measure and cut your pieces, making sure they're the same length, because when they're different sizes and shapes, it's kind of obvious to see. And I guess in relation to that, it's really important to make sure your petals are shaped nicely with no gaps or random edges poking out, to just make sure everything is uniform and neat. In terms of numbers, you'll need 5 petals for one lily and 6 for a tulip. I'll also be making some long leaves for my tulips and lilies, and the process is basically the same, but instead of having 3 half pieces, you're going to have 3 normal pieces alongside another normal piece that goes around the middle. Then just like we did with the lily and tulip petals, I'm just going to curve over the outside edge to make the border of my leaf, make sure everything is lined up side by side, twist my base to secure everything down, and make sure that it actually looks like a leaf by doing proper shaping and spacing of the pipe cleaner pieces to finish off making my leaf. Now it's time to build the flowers, and I'm going to start off with making my tulips. After grabbing my floral wire and green painter's tape, I'm organizing my petals to match each with a size that's similar to put next to each other, and just using hot glue to attach the petals together at the base. Making sure they're glued together at the base is important because if it's just on the sides, it might not be shaped the same way and it doesn't really give off the natural flower look. Once that's dry, I'm going to put some hot glue in the middle of the new base I've made with the 2 petals and put my floral wire in the middle between that. Then making sure again I'm gluing down around the base, I'm going to add another petal right beside one of the ones I've already put on and finish it off with a last petal that should go somewhat around the floral wire. Now this is still a pretty sad looking tulip, so we're going to use the other 3 petals to fill in the gaps of the petals that we already have. So once again, making sure we put glue on the base of our petals and just gluing it so that it covers up any holes and that it looks like the tulip is blooming. Once we're sure everything is attached and the glue has cooled, we can move on to the next step. We're going to be using our green tape to just kind of make sure the flower looks like it's seamlessly growing from the stem and that it just seamlessly transitions to the floral wire. And so like I've been showing you here, we're just going to cut pieces of tape and just kind of wrap it around the pipe cleaner and the floral wire. I'd actually recommend smaller pieces than this because it genuinely just gets a lot more tangled and wrinkly if you use too long of pieces, so small pieces of tape is all that's needed. And like I'm doing here, you just kind of want to wrap it around your pipe cleaners and your floral wire, along with any leaf attachments that you're doing to just put together your stem. For best results, make sure that you're wrapping the tape as tightly as you can around the wire. And once you're happy with the taping, it's then moving on to the shaping of the flower. And another quick tip I want to mention is to just take your time with it and trust the process, especially for taping and shaping. The attention to detail is really going to matter, but in the end will pay off because it'll have you making beautiful flowers like these. Now moving on to finishing up our lilies, I'm going to be taking 2 petals and again gluing them at the base with some hot glue, before putting more hot glue on the middle of the new base, placing the floral wire and sandwiching another petal on top. Now this should purposely make your petals look uneven. As you can see here, it forms a triangle that isn't equal on all sides, but that's exactly what we want, so we leave some gaps to place our last 2 petals. So again, with the hot glue, we're just going to make sure we're gluing at the base into the gaps, and of course doing the same thing with the last gap that we have left. And finally, we just want to make sure that all of the petals are glued on securely. Now I'm also quickly going to show you how to make these stamens or the yellow parts of the middle of the lilies. Taking a yellow pipe cleaner, I'm going to twist it around a pen or a pencil, making 5 loops. And after scrunching that all together, I'm going to take one end of the pipe cleaner and just shove it through the loops that I made. And then I'll be twisting it with the other end of the pipe cleaner that's also sticking out. After this step, you should be able to spread out your mini loops like so, and then it becomes a game of shaping. So just bending and folding over the little mini yellow petals to look like what you'd put in the middle of a lily. Now feel free to cut off the excess pipe cleaner ends off. We're going to put some hot glue right on the back of it and just stick it onto the middle of our lily. For my bouquet, I'll be making just 2 lilies since they are bigger sized flowers and more of a statement piece. So I'm just going to be making one more pink one to pair with my purple one. And I'm just going to finish that off following all the steps that I just showed you guys. Now into the final touches with the stem. I'm just going to take a piece of green tape, wrap it around the base of my flower where it attaches to the floral wire, and just continue adding on pieces and wrapping it around the wire as tightly as I can to get a final result of beautiful pipe cleaner lilies. Now to add some height and white coloring to my bouquet, I'll be making some lily of the valleys. To make each little flower, you need 3 white half pieces and 1 green half piece. Taking our green and lining it up with the middle of our white pieces, we're going to fold over the end and twist to secure our white pieces in place. Now pinching my stem between my pointer and middle finger, we're going to spread out our white pieces so that they make kind of this snowflake shape. We're then going to take the top end and fold it down before taking the bottom piece and folding it up. So basically just folding both ends in the opposite directions. Then we're going to do that to the next few pieces as well, again folding down and up before going to our last final piece where once again we just fold down and then back up. Once you got something that looks like this, we're going to move on to making the petal shapes. So taking each end, I'm just going to curve it over to the middle and just pinch it and twist to kind of give that curved shape. And we'll do that with every single end of white pipe cleaner that's sticking out. It's really important to make sure that your curves are around the same length and that you're pinching it right in the middle to make sure everything is secure. And once you have that, we can fold the petals upwards so that they kind of all come together in a point. And make sure there's no gaps within the petals as well, and to squish them just enough so that you can't see anything through. And I'm also going to fold over a little bit of a lip on the edges of the petals. And that basically finishes off making my first forget-me-not flower. I'm only going to be making 1 stem of them, but I'm going to need quite a few to do that. So taking my floral wire and one of my lily of the valley flowers, I'm going to take a small piece of tape it around the base of the green stem of my flower and the end of the floral wire. Again, the tighter and neater the taping job is, the more seamless it looks like the flowers are actually coming out of the stem. I'm then just going to take my second flower and tape it right underneath, and take a third one and do the same thing to kind of make this drooping overhang effect to finish off the lily of the valley piece of my bouquet. Now we're making daisies, which I think is a great way to fill up some weird gaps in bouquets and to add another pop of color. Taking the end of a normal size pipe cleaner, I'm going to curl it over into a loop, twist it to secure it and make that petal shape, before immediately looping into a second petal where I'm going to make sure the size is about the same before I twist and secure it. And I'm just going to continually make loops as my petals according to where my pipe cleaner ends up where it twists, just so it makes the shaping a bit more natural. Key points here is to make sure your petals look around the same size, and I'm going to try to end up with 5 petals total. As you can see here, I'm just finishing up with my last one to make the white petals of my daisy. I'm then just going to do some light shaping and curve the petals somewhat upwards to give a natural shape. And then we can move on to making the middle of our flowers. So taking a half piece of a yellow pipe cleaner, starting on one end, I'm just going to curl it over and over again to make this circular shape. Then I'm going to snip off any excess once I have the right size and just glue it onto the middle of my daisy. Once you've made sure the middles are nicely glued on, you can feel free to do some shaping with the petals, and now we're going to move on to making the stems. If you notice though, the part hanging out of the daisy that is supposed to be the stem is white, so I'm just going to take some green pipe cleaner and just wrap it all around to give it, of course, the stem color, and then we can finally put it onto the floral wire. I also like this method to make sure that there is a bit of excess pipe cleaner that I can manipulate as part of the stem, just to give the daisies a bit more of a dynamic look, and so that's easier to manipulate when it's on the bouquet. Once I'm done tightly wrapping the green pipe cleaner around the bottoms of my daisies, I can move on to putting them together on a floral wire. I'm using green tape to attach the stems of my daisies to the ends of the floral wire, and just kind of putting more and more daisies at the bottom to kind of give this layering and branching out effect. I'm making sure to wrap the tape as tightly as I can with no gaps or air bubbles to make sure the seamlessness of the stem is upheld, and that finishes off my daisies. Before finalizing my bouquet, however, I wanted to add some more greenery, so I'm just going to add this leaf piece in as well. Taking a normal size green pipe cleaner, I'm just going to fold over the edge to the length I want for my leaves before twisting to secure it. And then I'm going to take the other end of my pipe cleaner and put it through the loop I just created. Pulling through until it's around the same length as the loop I originally made, I'm going to flatten it down and just use the excess pipe cleaner to wrap it around the shape I've just made, and then also put the end through the loop one more time. Now it's just a game of shaping and making sure it looks like a leaf shape that you're happy with. For the plant that I want to make, especially since I want it to be on the taller side to take up some more space in the bouquet, I'm going to need to make a few more of these leaves. So again, following the same process of making my loop, putting it through, and just shaping the leaf. Once I've made enough, I can move on to attaching it to a floral stem. Pretty similar to the daisies I made earlier in the video, I'm just going to take my small piece of tape, wrap it around the stem of the leaf to the floral wire as tightly as I can. And once I'm done rolling that up tightly, I'm just going to repeat the same process with the rest of my leaves in this layered branching fashion, and making sure I'm keeping the spacing somewhat consistent and that the branches are going on the opposite side of the last one that just went on. With that, we're done our greenery leafy piece, and we can put together the final bouquet. Alright guys, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this turned out super cute and was a total success. Honestly, I'm pretty surprised by the final result, because while it looks kind of intimidating, they're honestly not that hard to make, and they make for an amazing looking gift. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and happy Valentine's Day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!